You ever use these things?
I don't like them.
I finally broke down and got them as they went on sale for like 99 on Amazon.
I don't have them. My brother's did, but he got it off.
They're still too expensive because they're so easy to drop and lose and break. And oh, those are expensive.
Yeah, she got those.
Does she like them?
Yeah, she said she likes those better because like she can like cancel out all it.
Oh yeah, because they have like the plug. That's true. Right.
She got me married one. They were working, but I think they won't.
Generic ones I never was really good with them. I was broke. It's crazy how fast things get updated. I actually bought this thing from India, and it's kind of weird. I guess they have cheap leather. It smells like it's from India. It's like they had to ship it from far away. But if you got it in the United States, I hope it doesn't break. But you got to have a bag to carry your stuff. Okay. I actually have a good video for you guys today, but it's this one, and it's about mobile homes. I never even thought about mobile homes. You ever seen a mobile home park? Right. Yeah. So apparently, Wall Street got involved with mobile home parks. I didn't even know that. So I'll show it when you guys get in. I'll review until I can't remember if anybody's going to present their presentation today, though. I'm trying to remember. Because we have 25 of you guys, say that 2 or 3 go every day. That'll be 6 a week, and we still have 4 weeks. Some people put them online, like just filmed it and put it online. Is that what you were going to do? You were going to present it. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. We'll be here. Yep. Oh, shoot. It gets us all used to presenting in live time. I wonder why that just died. I know. I'm curious if I need a plug. If that is this, then I need to go. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see how much battery. Well, it says that it has 64% remaining. Doesn't it ever tell you the time? Like how long it has till it dies? I know. I thought it always gave you like hours. And let's see. Oh, maybe display settings. No, weird. Batteries. Yeah, I always thought it told you how long. Okay. Oh, 2 hours and 47 minutes. Okay. Did I ever tell you that when we go up for our tenure and promotion, we have to print off all of our papers we ever did?
Huh?
So I have like 100 pages I have to put into here. And this is what it looks like.
You have to write.
Pretty much. I mean, this is like all of our publications. So our resume, classes we taught, teaching loads. All of our publications, all of our presentations, all of our awards, university service, and all of our public service, our evaluations from our staff, and then letters of recommendation. You still have to get those. No matter how old you get, you gotta do all that. So much.
You got your house, right?
Mm-hmm. You can. Like, you don't want to?
No, I'm not gonna go.
You only have to write a large paper called a dissertation. And all it really consists of is like 6 large papers. That's all it is. And just think of all the papers you write throughout college. That's about the same. And you take about 4 years to get your doctorate. So, hello. How long? So you guys, if you graduate with a bachelor's of social work, you qualify for a 1-year master's degree.
Where do you go to get that one? Because I'm in Indiana.
All over. Indiana University has one. Miami University has one. Wright State University. There's like 800 schools. So, Cincinnati has 5. We've got like University of Cincinnati, Xavier University, Northern Kentucky University, and a few others. So it's only 1 year after you graduate. And you get paid like double. So the money's well worth it. Like that's what you want to do. Even if it looks hard. Actually, UC just got $1.9 million to give scholarships for people like that. All right, so I found the video on housing. As we move on from human rights and homelessness linked to economic factors like lack of affordable homes, poverty and low income, social issues, and substance use. Right as I was saying that, this video popped up on my screen. I wonder if they like read your computer, what you're looking at, and they show you videos that are just like what you're reading. It's kind of, or they advertise to you, like you're looking up, I want to buy new headphones, and then boom, you got 25 advertisements.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
I know like Facebook they do it. Like, you'll
Yes.
say something and then it'll be like right there. It's like what the heck?
Yeah, you say it out loud, and it's
Yeah.
like, I think it's when you give Facebook access to your microphone to do voice to text into like Messenger, and that's how they do it. But now I'm just saying, I have no access to anything. Don't track me, no microphone. I don't even really use my photos on Facebook anymore. So here is what came up though about homelessness, because it's weird. When I was growing up, probably when I was your age, I thought of homeless people as like dirty, nasty old men that were sleeping in the streets. And that is true, but this is a situation of how people that look just like us become homeless. See if it works.
You really want my opinion about me?
Let me enlarge it. Hello.
Hi.
So when I was looking through, this is it's affordable housing, but it is a mobile home park. It's in Tennessee. It's not far from here. Several people of race, religions, and colors live there, and apparently Wall Street bought it, and it's screwing these people over. So I wanted to show this video.
I think they're out for one thing, and that's nothing but money.
For over 20 years, Francine Townsend has lived in a mobile home. And for much of that time, she absolutely loved it.
Do you guys know mobile home parks? Have you ever seen them anywhere? So you can live in these places sometimes for like a few hundred a month. You know what I mean? Like it's the last affordable housing, but they're saying Wall Street got involved in the past 10 years and it sucks now.
It was very, very nice. I mean, everybody was
It's
like
pretty.
family. Every neighbor helped everybody.
Wow.
If my grass wasn't cut, the neighbor across the street would cut it. If her grass didn't get cut that week, I would cut hers. And that's just how we were. We were just like one big family.
The big change came in 2012 with the arrival of RHP Properties, a corporation entwined with Brookfield Asset Management, a Toronto-based private equity firm. It bought control of the mobile home community where Francine lives. And soon after, the money Francine paid to have her home in the community, called the land fee or the lot rent, started going up.
So have you guys heard of lot rent before? Basically, you own your mobile home outright, but you rent a little space that has a water hookup and electric hookup. And that's usually, sometimes it's like $150 to $250 a month. So you can really live affordably. Some of these homes are nice. You can see they're not terrible. They're small enough to fit on a semi and you deliver them. But I guess she's going to say it doubled and she couldn't afford it.
None of that is supposed to be.
That's a nice mobile home park, though. I've seen worse.
All of a sudden, we got this big spike the first year they came in. And then you started seeing it going up, up, and up, and up. My land fee reached almost $1,400.
Wow, that's more than my. Manufactured housing, commonly known as mobile homes, is a vital source of affordable housing for about 3 million households across 45,000 communities in the United States. These households have a median income of about $36,000 and include vulnerable populations like seniors, the disabled, and immigrants. Mass production and simple design help give people of modest means like Francine a chance to have a place they can call home.
Because that was a place that if you retired, you would be able to afford. It was your own yard, you had your own driveway, and it was like home.
Despite the name, mobile homes are not mobile in the sense that owners can simply drive away if the lot owners turn troublesome.
It would cost you $8,000 just to get it moved, as much to buy a new one if you go anywhere else.
Where Francine saw an affordable home in a friendly community, RHP Properties saw only a profit opportunity. Private equity firms and the corporate homeowners they work with do everything they can to maximize revenue and squeeze costs, no matter the commute home. Whether they're price gouging people for vital services like housing, shortening life expectancy in nursing homes, or destroying local newspapers with ruthless cost cutting, the private equity industry is responsible for some of the most harmful business practices in the United States.
Do you guys remember Toys R Us? Yeah. They just went out of business. I think somebody bought them again, though. They went bankrupt and somebody new bought them, so maybe it'll be toys for twice as much money.
Its abuses are pervasive, stretching across the American economy through many industries.
Come on in here. I bet you should have been here when the potholes needed fixed.
Outrage in the community over RHP's behavior grew rapidly. For her part, Francine found herself trying to get the management to simply do its job.
I did a right house on there, you still have been looking for his hair.
It wasn't simply the land fee. RHP started charging for services that were once included in the rent, like water.
So this tree fell from here all the way over to my back steps.
And when it came to maintaining the community by clearing fallen trees or filling potholes,
They never came.
the company simply vanished.
Where are you? You're a maintenance? I got a maintenance right there. Do your job. You ain't the first time I ever seen you. We ain't had a maintenance in 8 months. So now you a maintenance? Do your job.
Lease like battle with the owner, maybe plus capital.
Corporate and private equity acquisitions of mobile home communities have left homeowners across the United States destitute.
Rent was going to rise from $205 a month to $500 a month.
What do I do? Dig a hole somewhere and be a cave woman?
In some cases, they have jacked up prices for homeowners by up to 60% by layering on school taxes, trash fees, and administrative charges atop the rent, all new costs that previous owners never imposed. They have also kicked out homeowners despite federal rules against evictions during the COVID-19 pandemic. Financial reformers are seeking a fundamental restructuring of the predatory private equity industry by passing groundbreaking federal legislation known as the Stop Wall Street Looting Act.
Hi, my name is Francine Townsend. I'm calling Senator Brian Kavanaugh. I live in a manufacturing facility in Spring Valley, New York.
Mobile home residents are seeking an end to the abusive practices of corporate and private equity owners and fair ownership structures that preserve the communities they've built over the years.
This is me and my husband at the end of his last journey. And has so much love and memories of my husband that is no longer with me. And I feel that if I let that go, I'm letting it go. So that's what I love about my mobile home.
So some of them you could even get, if you guys have ever heard of a double wide, it's like probably as wide as this room, so you don't have just like a tiny little semi. And there are nice mobile homes. $1,400 is more. I pay, my mortgage is $1,135 a month, which is a lot. I used to only pay $800, but taxes have gone up and all that. The fact that she paid $1,400 just for lot rent is crazy. So, there is another thing about hyperinflation. Were any of you guys want to present today? I can't remember.
I will, but
Okay.
I just want you to look over it so I can make sure.
Okay. Yeah, sure. It's you turned it in right here, and
Soaring prices, mass shortages. What's next? Hi, I'm Chris Hercule.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
About the presentation.
sure.
Okay, so do we have to have a flash drive? It's because my computer, I have a MacBook. It
You can
doesn't-
email it.
Email.
You have something like this where it only has.
Yeah,
that.
I don't have that.
Right. I had to buy an adapter for this thing.
Okay, because I have like flash drive things, but like I didn't know.
Right. I know. I just found that out as I've never had something this tiny, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of annoyed with it. But if you turn it in here or email it, you should be okay.
Okay.
Which one did you turn it in under? Did you turn it in on like here?
Yeah. But I have to like take a picture of it.
Which one was it? Was it are you? I'll make sure that we're in the right morning class because that would be it. So course activities, assignments. I really liked Schoology a lot better than this, but oh well, we're stuck with this. So field observation, probably like here.
Yeah, that's mine. See, I had to do it all the time because I didn't know if it was doing
Okay, that's fine. You got to do what you got to do.
that. And when I see that, I'm like, I'm not gonna do that.
All right. Well, luckily we have me here and it's filming. So do you think they're in order?
Yeah.
Like, is it these or is it all 12? Do you think it's only
No,
5 slides or 15 slides?
it's only 5.
Okay, let's see if it just like lets us download it. And then you can go ahead and present. There you go. Not as perfect as you want it, but it's at least something. Is that the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. If that works for you, if you want to just present off that, that's fine. You'll get better at PowerPoint the longer that you do it. It takes a while. Which restaurant was this?
It was like, it's in my hometown.
Okay,
I went to the mall. That's what I used for mine.
Okay, that looks like the last slide. So do you think it's probably this one is the first slide? There it is. All right. Slide 1, now go to slide 2. See, look at that. I can work around the flexibilities.
I can go now.
Sure.
I went back home this weekend. I went to the mall, and like in Toledo, it's like real small. And we only got one mall, and it's like in a nice neighborhood with all white people. So, yeah.
Okay. Toledo's like 3 hours away?
Yeah, 2.5.
Okay. Let's go to 2.
And I expected them to be rude and to treat me different from all the other shoppers, especially because I was Black and knowing what happened in the previous time with Black kids going to mom. Because they used to have riots and they used to fight all the time and just a whole bunch of stuff.
Wasn't that last year, like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I feel like I remember that being on the news.
Yeah.
Okay.
I expected them to watch my every move and, they always think a Black person's different. So, yeah.
Okay, let's do number 3. This is the right one.
And it wasn't the best, but it was better than I expected it to be. They weren't as mean or rude as I thought they would, and they let me shop and they gave me some space. And somebody in the store helped me, and my food was good, and the workers was nice, and they had a positive attitude for the most part.
Is this like those malls where they have the big food court and Chick-fil-A and Sbarro and pizza and like all that? Okay.
Even though I didn't look like them or dress like them, they treated me better than I expected as far as the food, as far as the customer service. They weren't at my back and they didn't watch me when I was
What stores do they have there?
they don't have like, it's like really low class. Like they don't have nothing.
Well, a lot of malls are going out of business in the pandemic.
They got like JCPenney and
Right.
Macy's and all that.
So the
But
Apple
yeah.
store is like somewhere else. You got to go to like Cleveland, or is it in Toledo?
It's in Toledo, but it's not anymore.
Okay.
Like I'm not.
Right, like ours in Cincinnati. Do you guys have any questions about the mall experience that you had? We only have a couple malls left in Cincinnati.
It's one that's right down the street from my house, and nobody usually goes there unless it's like a last minute thing.
Really?
Yeah, and then we have.
That's true. Yeah, if you want to get it like.
Yeah, like it's like they have like Kohl's and JCPenney's and stuff, and then they have like some little stuff, but like when we go like further out, probably say like 30-40 minutes to another mall. That's where everything is at, and that's where a lot of people be. So I mean, you just go to that mall if it's last minute shopping.
Oh, this is one of ours in Cincinnati. But you're right. When you need it that day, I guess you now can pay Amazon to get it to you that day, but they charge you a lot of money. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen these. If you search abandoned malls, well, this one's in Columbus. Maybe we'll find one in Toledo too. What cities are you guys from? Indianapolis.
We don't really have them. We have Lafayette, and that's like the mall only goes for like shoes. You can't really get clothes or anything. But that's what it's for. And then like we have Charleston, you can get shoes and clothes. A lot of people go there, and then there's Keystone. That's like a fashion mall, so that's where Apple is.
These mansions blow my mind too. They got abandoned mansions, so you like see people touring these places, and that was somebody's house. So anyway, let's start with this because I feel like this one was edited. But these are a whole series. This is kind of where the mall is also dying. You get your concealed carry. I doubt you can bring it on campus though. So this is all over Ohio. We have this stuff going on. It's crazy.
What's up, guys? My name is Jake. Welcome to Abandoned.
I didn't know we would have an annoying narrator, but yeah, so this is how the mall started. It was the only place you could get stuff like Sears. Well, they started with women's clothing and purses. And Sears got smart too. If they started selling men's like oil change stuff and tires, and then you could bring your wife to the mall and then shop for your car. That's how they all started, but with a bad economy.
So the Rolling Acres Mall is located in Akron, Ohio. Developed by Forest City Enterprises, the Rolling Acres Mall opened on August 6, 1975 as a perfect example of the American mall movement. When the mall first opened, it didn't gain much.
And then when I was growing up, these were the only places you could meet like girls and stuff.
With its 21 stores. However, it began to gain some traction, and by the end of 1975, the mall had 50 stores. The first anchor store the mall had was Sears, until it was joined by JCPenney the following year. The mall became really popular as the years went on, as it catered well to families and young commuters. In 1978, the mall went through a massive expansion to add new retail space, and by this time, the mall was pretty large. As the years went on, the mall continued to expand and grow. It had a rare two-story design for the area, hosted a movie theater, and an impressive and expansive water fountain, and a promenade with palm trees.
Yeah, did you guys remember going to movies at these places too? I feel like these are the only places that had movies. So, and again, the pandemic shut all of this stuff down. So it was starting in 2010, even 2009, but the pandemic has almost closed every American mall. So these are interesting. That
You ever see malls in the north of palm trees anymore? Anyway, in 1995, the mall continued to grow when Target built its store next to the mall, and a 21,000 square foot passageway was constructed to connect the two. However, 4 years earlier, the mall made the poor decision to cut costs on security, and rather than employ off-duty police officers, they would employ normal home security. This arguably led to the 1991 incident where a fight broke out just outside the movie theater. During this fight, it was reported that a gunshot was fired. This wasn't really good for the mall's image.
so this is kind of like what you were describing, but it even happened in the 80s and 90s too, which is
But
weird.
by 1995, it's arguably where the mall reached its peak. Specifically, the mall reached a capacity of 140 stores and an impressive 5 anchor stores. The mall had a parking capacity of 7,500 cars.
Dang, can you tell how old those cars are? Those are like the cars we drove to high school. So
Like they just parked it.
right, I know it does look. Well, they do the zigzag parking, which I don't like, but it's like diagonally this way, and then it's supposed to create more spaces, but I hate it. It's terrible.
And housed 1.3 million square feet of retail space. Shortly after Target opened, the mall began losing stores, including the movie theater. In addition, the JCPenney was downgraded to become an outlet center, as well as the Dilliard's, which also became something similar.
Dilliard's.
In 1997, the nearby Summit Mall went through a multi-million-dollar renovation, with its local area booming. It seems as though Forest City Enterprise knew what was happening and made the smart decision to sell the mall for $33.5 million to Bankers Trust in 2000. It wasn't long after until the mall was sold again for $2.75 million, a staggering $30.75 million less.
So did you hear the difference in price there? It sold for $33 million. A few years later, it sold for $2 million. $33 million down to $2
By
million.
2003, the mall was only at 50% occupancy. As more left, more stores became discounted and lesser quality than they were prior. During 2003, the cinema opened back up as a discount movie theater. Things were getting very bad for the mall, and it was made much worse when their first anchor store, Target, closed and relocated to nearby Wadesworth in early 2006. Later, in August of 2006, another anchor store, Dillard's, closed, which left the mall at an occupancy rate of 30 to 40%. As the slow economy crept on and the local area income not doing much better, teen gangs began to show up around the mall. And in early 2007, multiple stores inside the mall reported merchandise being stolen. This was actually later found out to be a homeless man living in one of the vacant stores. As 2008 rolled in, the mall was doing great.
So it only had 30% rented out. 70% is open. They thought the gangs were stealing, but it was a homeless dude who was just camping out in one of the like shoe stores, which that's a smart place to live if it's heated and cooled.
Yearly match. In April, Macy's closed its store inside the mall. With so few tenants, the mall took some drastic measures to save money, like turning off their escalators and auctioning off mall fixtures. Things seemed to be so bad that it appears they stopped paying for their website as it went offline in early 2008. In summer of 2008, the cinema closed for its final time, which put the mall into the fear of not being able to pay for its $150,000 electric bill.
There's a spirit to this mall. There's a soul here. And that spirit and soul will not allow this place to die.
So do you guys remember what happened in 2008 and 2009? It was basically an economic collapse. Good morning. How are you? How are you? Were you presenting at all today? Or you? Okay. All right. Just checking. So we were going over homelessness and poverty, and triggered one of the slides pulled up economic collapse. So, and then unemployment facts. So in 2008 and 2009, we had a huge recession. We usually have a recession every 7 to 10 years. And so unemployment rates usually underestimate joblessness, the impact of family relations, separation, divorce, and then expansion of low-wage part-time positions without medical. So that's kind of what takes over. And then we were watching how these malls went out of business and became abandoned, which is weird.
Penny's has been here forever. I am so happy right next to them with.
So now they're at 12% occupancy. That means 1 out of every 10 store is rented, but almost 9 out of every 10 stores is empty.
The bank also.
I forget the name of those banks. We have little people here, and it's the tenants, it's the people running the little restaurants. It's all a bunch of little people who are keeping a big dream alive.
People that came from Barberton and Northland, what are they gonna do?
Will be long.
So what city are you from? I'm trying to remember.
I'm sorry.
Where?
I ain't even.
Like right in Xenia?
Wait, no, I didn't hear what you said.
Okay. What city are you from?
I'm from Chicago.
Chicago. Do you guys have any abandoned malls? Or just like empty?
Type stuff.
What's it called?
4C.
4C? Or what's the thing that you didn't want to call it?
I said type shit.
Type shit. Okay. So you guys probably have a bunch, and what is funny is older people start using them to like walk in the wintertime because it's heated, so you'll see like old people walking around. But it's a sad state of the economy. Basically, if you have 90% empty, that means that was all the jobs that people had in 01, 02, and 03. Did any of you guys try to apply to summer jobs and never get a call back or something like that? Because I heard it was bad. So I know this is 5 more minutes, but they kind of go through now. We have these huge open spaces in Chicago, in Toledo, in Indianapolis, and they're just empty. And I guess Amazon's buying them up, but it shows what the economy has done and why homelessness has gotten a lot worse.
Something, this mall closes.
So all the white hairs walk around it for like 2 hours a day.
By October 2008, only 8 tenants remained, one being a church, another being a Dollarama, and several others being organizations. Finally, in the fall of 2008, all Rolling Acres tenants were notified that the mall could no longer afford power and that the mall will close as soon as possible. However, this would not affect the 2 remaining anchor stores as they would still continue operations. The last few days of the mall were not only sad, but creepily surreal.
This is what they look like now if you go into them. Playing 80s music, like. And we have 3 in Cincinnati just like this. This one's in Akron, but they can't afford their electricity bill. So I remember going into one, it wasn't heated, and it was like 40 degrees.
But then finally, on October 31st, Halloween Day, 2008, the Rolling Acres Mall closed permanently as power was cut to the structure. This left the interior of the mall completely abandoned. In May of 2009, the mall was auctioned off online. However, with some initial interest prior, nobody bid. It wasn't until 2010 that a Californian-based company, Premier Ventures LLC, purchased the building for $3 million. At this point, very little was known about the company. Not too long after, Sears announced they would be closing their store by April 20th, 2011. This left JCPenney Outlet to be the only remaining store left in the structure. 2010 to 2011 were also the years that the mall began to be regularly broken into and scrapped.
See those dead ass plants they have growing there? They're like all dry out leaves and fallen. So, and remember the first price they sold for in the 80s or 90s? They said $33 million. And then here, 20 years later, how much they said they sold it for? It was $3 million. So a $33 million mall. And you guys can find, they have these all over the place. It's
By
crazy.
2010, much of the copper wiring and metal railings were removed by scrappers. By the time 2011 came in, weird and creepy things began to occur. Inside the mall is a pretty dangerous place. Throughout, there are tons of bullet holes and shot-out skylights. In April of 2011, a man trying to steal copper was electrocuted and killed when an electrical box exploded. The man was found on fire while holding bolt cutters. Later in the year, a 47-year-old man by the name of Timothy Kern Mink.
Soaring prices, massive shortages. What's next? I'm Christopher here, and if you're like most people, you
Vanished after responding to a Craigslist ad. Timothy was found dead in a shallow grave behind the mall. His death was linked to the Craigslist killers Richard Beasley and his 16-year-old accomplice, Brogan Rafferty.
Convicted Craigslist killer, 53-year-old Richard Beasley, showed no emotion Thursday as a judge sentenced him to death in Summit County Common Pleas.
On count one, this court opposes the sentence of death.
In January of 2016, a body was found hanging from a tree beside the mall. Officials deemed this as an apparent suicide. With things in the area not improving, on December 31st, 2013, JCPenney Outlet closed permanently. This left the mall officially dead without any owners. Premier Ventures began to act a little shady in its practices. They had stopped paying for property tax and stopped paying for security altogether in 2011. Each time the city attempted to auction off the property, Premier Ventures filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which prevented the auction to take place. However, with the most recent time, prosecutors forced Premier Ventures to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which meant they would not be allowed to file for another bankruptcy within a 9-month period. This would allow the city to try and auction off the building. While Premier Ventures was secretly attempting to find another buyer, it was revealed that the company had no offices in California at all, and instead was based out of Delaware. Currently, the company owes the county $1.2 million in property tax. So whoever ends up buying the property needs to pay that back. The mall is scheduled to go on a sheriff auction on June 7, 2016, and if no buyers are found, it will go again on the 27th. If no bids are placed through the auction, no buyer is found with Premier Ventures, or if they don't pay their taxes, then the property will go to the city of Akron. Premier Ventures never announced why they bought the property and what they plan to do with it. As of 2016, 2 businesses operate out of the mall. One in the former Target, which operates as a storage facility. And the reason why I wanted to show you this is because when they built this, I'm assuming they didn't take out any of the old Target fixtures, because a lot of the Target stuff is actually still in here. And if you look at that right there, you can actually see some of the old neon. As for the other business, it operates as a recycling facility out of the former Sears. As for the rest of the building, it sits completely abandoned. Since around 2010, the mall has been beaten up pretty heavily. While yes, there are larger abandoned malls like the Randall Park Mall, which is also in Ohio, to me, I just think Rolling Acres is a perfect example of the ideal 1970s suburban mall that met its end in the 2000s. It really is such a surreal place, and its historical significance makes it one of the most, if not the most, infamous abandoned malls ever. Personally, I'm really interested in abandoned retail locations, and I would honestly love to see this place before it's gone. It really is a great American mall that met a sad end.
So if you see, if you ever go, you want to find one in your city like Chicago, anywhere, it's kind of a sign of the times. Like he even said in 2011 and 2013, they still had people going out of business, and as recent as 2016. There's these places all over. You just do a search for abandoned malls. This is just Ohio. Anyone from Columbus? Here's one in Columbus. And like I said, the mansions are I love these mansions because it's crazy that somebody had that house and they have these large abandoned mansions that are just, or an $80 million glass mansion with everything left inside. So showing that in terms of our economy, which was decently good in the 80s and 90s. Like the 90s was where we had the strongest economy. But creating the large homeless unemployment. As social workers, we help with employee assistance programs like personal and family counseling for the stress, mental health issues, chemical dependency. As I mentioned, UC just got $1.9 million to give 100 students a scholarship to graduate school. Are all of you guys social workers? So social work's included in that. They got 1.9 million. They'll give 25,000 a year to doctoral students, and they give 10,000 a year to MSW students. So your master's in social work to train for treating people with mental health issues, chemical dependency, transition services, dealing with a job loss, some criminal justice facts. So the criminal justice system, law enforcement, court, and correction officers, we have punishment versus rehab philosophy. So a lot of us like to see prisons where you have rehabilitation in those. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. Our prisons were bought by a lot of private companies, similar to the mobile home park that you saw. And to save money, they cut out the rehab services. So all they do is like feed them and house them, like feed them and they sleep. So there's no rehab services. There is an overrepresentation of minorities. We have some challenges for special population groups like older prisoners and people with mental illness and mental retardation. If you have mental illness and don't get treatment for it, it's probably going to get worse. Same with sex offenders. If you're a sex offender and don't have treatment for that, it's not going to get better. It's probably going to get worse. And then incarceration of men and women with children. Did you guys know they give you conjugal visits in prison sometimes? If you're married, have you heard of that? Do you know what a conjugal visit is? If you're married, you're allowed to be with your spouse.
Oh.
Which is weird to me. I didn't know that was a thing. I don't know if they still do it, but I've heard some prisons still do it, where if you're married, you get a chance to have a baby, which is interesting.
If both of y'all do?
That's a good question. I feel like one of you has to be out of jail to be able to go visit. You know what I mean? But so yeah, we have a bad enough criminal justice system. With social workers, we try to connect with police. There are police social workers, if you remember the guy who spoke. We also have forensic social workers. They'll search for abuse crimes or kids that were abused, and they do the forensic investigations. We also have probation and parole officers. You don't need a degree to do that. A lot of probation offices will just hire you fresh out of high school. And then there is social workers in correctional facilities. So with the economy to get bad, it's definitely important to get stuff, to prepare. So these guys are talking about the shortages that are coming up. I'm not as interested in that. Kind of, more interested in the economy. And have you guys done your Christmas shopping yet?
No.
It's too expensive. Did you see the president talking about the supply chains?
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
I think a lot of people have, right? I mean, I know they all loved him a year ago, but now we're like, wait, who's the president? But he is the president, and he can like make a lot of rules. Supposedly he's letting these dudes work 24 hours a day around the clock. They really want us to get our concealed carry on. I don't think you can do that at Central State, though.
And here's a sobering thought. Some economists believe the supply chain bottleneck could keep prices high throughout next year.
Yeah.
CBS's Carter Evans reports that
why would they go back
markets are
down?
shrinking consumers,
Like once you raise a
driving
price,
some businesses to the brink.
why would you bring it back down?
We should not have empty shelves. That's not a good sign.
Ed O'Brien's Dinner Company makes some of the most popular outdoor toys on the market, but it's on track for a sales decline of 40%. You don't have demand problem. People want to buy your product.
Yeah, that's a supply problem.
That's because he has no idea when his toys will arrive from China.
We still have containers that we placed orders for March and we have not seen, and we don't know where they're at.
And because of the huge port backlog, he's paying more for shipping than ever.
The cost for a container shipping out of China was $6,500 from China to Denver.
How much is it now?
It's $30,000.
How much have you lost this
So
year?
did you hear the difference there? To buy one of those, like as big as this room, or maybe half this room, it was $6,000 to buy your crap in China. I think we all have stuff from China. Do you guys? I bet my shirts. I don't know. These are definitely from China. So it was 6,000. Now it's 33,000. And if we're paying for that, that means that like our shipping costs will go up by 5 times. This is a quick one. So
We have faced over $2 million of unexpected expenses.
He cannot raise prices on deals he's already made.
I'm scrambling for friends and family money, banks, everything else to get additional money just to keep the business going.
Nationwide, suppliers cannot get items to stores fast enough because there's a shortage of warehouse workers and truck drivers with more than 500,000 job openings.
wow.
Companies almost certainly won't be able to fill all the roles they hoped it's on this season.
Andy Challenger with outplacement firm Challenger Gray Christmas says companies are trying to entice workers. Amazon is offering signing bonuses up to $3,000 and starting wages up to $22 an hour.
I've seen
Walmart and
that.
Target are offering free college tuition.
And what it's mostly doing is hiring away workers from their competitors, and that's why we're seeing some of the highest quits rates that the country's ever reported.
In order for Ed O'Brien's business to survive, he says he has no choice but to raise prices in the future.
I would say at least 25% across our board, at least.
And Carter Evans joins us now live from Denver. And Carter,
So those are some of the things that
so
are
interesting to hear with small businesses.
coming up with our supply chain. And being a social worker at this time is desperately needed, you know, and you'll work with every population, again, every race, gender, creed, religion, and all of the above. So that's why we have this observation assignment. A few of you can go next week if you want. Okay, somebody said, I turned to my slideshow, confused about when presented. So you can present them this week, next week, or the following week. So you still have about a week and a half to Tuesday or Thursday next week, and then at least by Tuesday the following week. So just making sure you get those, and then move on to our diversity paper, which is next. So that is all I have. Oh yeah, parenting, that's right. And you guys are all registered? Sweet. That's the hardest part, is just like getting all this done. And making sure you've got your classes. So your first year in social work, you always do like intro to social work, intro to social welfare, and then you'll do HBSE, so human behavior and then some of the generalist practice classes. So if you need any help registering, just email us. We'll get you in there. That's all I've got.